David stared out the frost-covered window of their small apartment, watching snowflakes dance in the cold winter air. The city below twinkled with lights. Humans and alien citizens alike had decorated every building with glowing ornaments. It was Christmas Eve, and the streets were full of laughter, music, and the faint hum of hover vehicles flying by. But inside their apartment, David felt a quiet unease. Christmas had always been a bittersweet time for him. After his wife had passed away a few years ago, he and his son Ethan tried to keep the holiday alive, but it never felt the same. David worked long hours in the city's tech maintenance division, fixing AI-driven systems and alien machinery. Most nights he came home exhausted, only to find Ethan tinkering in his small bedroom, his young mind always buzzing with ideas. Ethan was different from other kids. At just 12 years old, he had an incredible curiosity for how things worked. He loved experimenting with alien technology, often combining it with human devices in strange, inventive ways. David sometimes worried about what might happen if Ethan's experiments went wrong, but he also knew his son had a gift, an imagination and intelligence that could change the world. Tonight, the apartment was quiet except for the soft sound of holiday music playing from the old speaker in the living room. A faint scent of pine and cinnamon filled the air, from the small Christmas tree David had managed to set up the night before. The tree was modest but decorated with care, tiny lights that twinkled like stars and small ornaments that Ethan had made from scraps of alien metal. "Dad," Ethan called from his room, his voice full of excitement. "Come here. I want to show you something." David shook off the cold from the window and walked toward his son's room. He opened the door and was met with the sight of Ethan crouched on the floor, a small glowing device in his hands. It looked like nothing David had ever seen before, a smooth, oval-shaped object with tiny lights that blinked in patterns he couldn't recognize. "What is that, Ethan?" David asked, curious but cautious. "It's a Christmas surprise," Ethan said with a grin. "I've been working on it all year. I think it's ready." David knelt down beside his son. "A Christmas surprise, huh? Can you tell me what it does?" Ethan shook his head. "Not yet. It's a surprise, but I promise you, Dad, it's something that will change everything." David raised an eyebrow. "Change everything? That sounds serious. Are you sure it's safe?" Ethan nodded confidently. "I tested it a lot. It's safe. You'll see." David smiled, even though he felt a twinge of worry. Ethan had always been daring, and his inventions often defied logic. But there was something in his son's eyes, a mix of pride and excitement that made him want to believe. "All right," David said. "I trust you. But remember, if it does anything crazy, I'm pulling the plug." Ethan laughed. "Deal." For the next hour, Ethan fussed over the device, pressing buttons, adjusting tiny levers, and whispering to himself in a language of his own making. David watched, fascinated by his son's focus and determination. He had seen Ethan build small robots, hovering toys, and even a miniature drone powered by alien crystals. But this device felt different. It seemed alive in some way. Finally, Ethan stepped back and gestured toward the device. "It's ready," he said. David took a deep breath and reached out to touch it. The moment his fingers brushed the smooth surface, the device hummed softly, and a faint glow spread across the room. The lights on the device pulsed in rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. "What is happening?" David whispered, both amazed and nervous. "It's just warming up," Ethan said, eyes wide with anticipation. "Wait for it." Suddenly, the room filled with a soft, shimmering light. David blinked, trying to adjust his eyes. The glow seemed to expand, filling the corners of the room, and for a moment he felt as if the walls themselves were melting away. He could hear a faint hum like the distant music of a machine from another world. "Dad, look!" Ethan pointed at the device. In the center, a small, shimmering portal appeared, hovering just above the floor. Through it, David could see a landscape unlike anything he had ever imagined. Rolling fields of snow under a sky filled with two suns, and glowing trees that seemed to hum with life. Small creatures, translucent and gentle-looking, moved gracefully across the alien terrain. David's mouth fell open. "Ethan, is this real?" Ethan nodded, his excitement barely contained. "Yes, it works. I made a portal." David stared at the tiny window into another world, his heart racing. "A portal? Ethan, this is incredible, but we can't step in there, can we? It looks dangerous." Ethan shook his head. "I've calculated everything. It's stable, Dad. It's completely safe. Please, just one step?" David hesitated. He had always been cautious, especially when it came to alien technology. But looking at Ethan, he saw the same spark that had driven him to pursue science and exploration all his life. How could he say no? "All right," David said, trying to steady his voice. "One step." He reached forward and carefully placed his foot through the portal. The sensation was strange, like walking on soft, floating air. When he fully stepped through, he found himself standing in the snow-covered alien world. The cold was real but gentle, and the sky above was breathtaking, with two suns casting warm, golden light over the land. Ethan followed, giggling with excitement. "See, Dad? I told you it would work." David looked around, awestruck. The creatures that moved nearby were like nothing he had ever seen, translucent, graceful beings with glowing patterns on their bodies. They seemed curious but friendly, watching the humans with intelligent eyes. David felt a strange sense of peace wash over him. This is amazing, Ethan," David said. "You've really done something incredible." Ethan beamed. "I wanted to make this Christmas special, Dad, not just for fun, but to show that humans and aliens can share ideas, explore together, and learn from each other. This is my gift." David felt a lump in his throat. His son, just a boy, had created something that could change the way humans saw the universe. It was more than a gift, it was hope, curiosity, and courage wrapped into one small device. They spent the rest of the evening exploring the alien world, discovering plants that glowed under the snow and creatures that communicated with soft musical sounds. David realized that this Christmas would be unlike any other. It wasn't about gifts, lights, or food. It was about adventure, connection, and the bond between father and son. As the night grew late, David and Ethan reluctantly stepped back through the portal to their apartment. The device hummed softly, its light dimming to a gentle glow. David looked at Ethan, pride and amazement shining in his eyes. "Thank you, Ethan," he said quietly. This Christmas, you really changed everything." Ethan smiled and hugged his father tightly. "Merry Christmas, Dad. This is just the beginning." David looked out the window at the snow falling gently over the city, feeling a warmth in his heart that had nothing to do with the heater. He knew that with Ethan's imagination and courage, the future held adventures he could never have imagined, and that maybe, just maybe, humanity's place in the universe was about to change forever. And with that thought, he realized that this Christmas was the best one they had ever had. The next morning, the soft hum of the portal device filled the apartment. Ethan was already awake, bouncing on his bed with excitement. Dad, let's go back." "I want to explore more." David rubbed his eyes, still adjusting to the idea that yesterday's adventure was real. "Ethan, are you serious?" "It's Christmas morning. We should eat breakfast first." "No way," Ethan said. "This is more important. You promised we could explore. Come on." David sighed, a smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. He knew when his son's mind was made up, there was no stopping him. All right. Let's see what your invention has in store today." They approached the small device on the table. It glowed softly as if it were aware of their presence. Ethan pressed a sequence of buttons and the shimmering portal opened again. David could feel the energy vibrating through the room. He hesitated for a moment, but Ethan grabbed his hand. "Don't worry, Dad, I've checked everything. It's stable." David nodded, and together they stepped through the portal. Immediately, the familiar alien landscape unfolded before them. The snow sparkled under the twin suns, and the gentle creatures from yesterday watched curiously from a distance. The air smelled crisp and fresh, a mix of snow and strange floral scents from glowing plants. Ethan ran ahead, laughing. "Come on, Dad. There's so much to see." David followed, taking in the scenery. Trees with glowing leaves lined the snowy hills, their light pulsing softly in the morning air. Strange creatures walked gracefully through the snow, their translucent bodies shining in the sunlight. Some were tall and elegant, like deer made of crystal. Others were small, moving quickly like bright floating orbs. "This is incredible," David said, his voice full of wonder. "I never imagined anything like this could exist." Ethan grinned. "And there's more. I discovered something yesterday, but we didn't have time to explore it fully." David raised an eyebrow. "Discovered something? What is it?" Ethan pointed to a hill in the distance. At the top stood a structure made of glowing crystal, tall and thin like a tower reaching for the sky. "That's what I want to check out. I think it's some kind of building." "Maybe a city." David hesitated. "Ethan, we don't know what's inside. It could be dangerous, Ethan shrugged. We'll be careful. Besides, we have each other. Come on, Dad, adventure waits. Reluctantly, David followed his son up the snowy hill. The climb was easier than he expected. The snow was soft under their boots, and the air was surprisingly warm despite the snow. When they reached the top, they could see the tower in detail. Its walls shimmered with light, and patterns moved across its surface like a living mosaic. David stepped closer, studying the patterns. This isn't just a building. It's alive somehow. The walls are moving. Ethan nodded. I think it's intelligent. Maybe it can communicate. Suddenly, a soft hum echoed from the tower. The wall shifted, forming an opening. From inside, a tall, slender figure emerged. Its body was translucent like the other creatures, but it had glowing patterns on its face and arms. Its eyes were large, curious, and intelligent. David instinctively stepped in front of Ethan. Hello, he said cautiously. We mean no harm. The creature tilted its head, observing them. Then with a soft musical sound it spoke. The words weren't human, but somehow David and Ethan understood. Visitors from another world, welcome. Ethan's eyes widened. Dad, it understands us. The creature's voice continued. You bring curiosity and courage. Few humans have ventured this far. David swallowed, amazed. We didn't mean to intrude, we just wanted to explore, the creature nodded. Curiosity is the first step toward understanding. Follow me. You will learn. They followed the being inside the tower. The interior was breathtaking. Walls glowed with shifting patterns and soft light filled every corner. Strange devices floated in the air, moving as if guided by invisible hands. David felt a mixture of awe and excitement. Ethan ran ahead, examining everything. This is amazing. Look at this, Dad. They have technology that bends light and energy. It's incredible. David nodded, his mind racing. Ethan, remember, we need to be careful. We don't know their intentions. The creature led them to a large chamber. In the center was a pedestal with a glowing orb floating above it. The orb pulsed with a warm, soft light. This is the heart of knowledge, the creature said. It contains the wisdom of our world. You may learn, but you must respect it. Ethan's eyes shone. Dad, we can learn so much from this. David glanced at his son, then back at the orb. He felt a surge of pride. Ethan's curiosity and courage had brought them here. He knew his son was destined for greatness, even if he didn't yet understand how. The orb pulsed brighter, and images began to form inside it, floating visions of the alien world, its history, and its people. David and Ethan watched in awe as they saw civilizations building cities of light, creatures communicating through energy, and discoveries of knowledge far beyond human understanding. This is incredible, David whispered. It's like seeing the history of an entire world in front of us. Ethan nodded, absorbing every detail. And it's Christmas. Dad, can you imagine? We get to learn, explore, and celebrate all at the same time. David smiled. Despite the strangeness, he felt a deep warmth. The bond between him and his son had grown stronger with every step they had taken. He realized that this adventure wasn't just about discovery. It was about trust, love, and courage. Suddenly, the orb projected a new image, a vision of Earth, distant and beautiful, shining with blue and green. The creature's voice spoke again, gentle and musical. You may return to your world, but remember, knowledge is a gift. Share it wisely, and your curiosity will bring hope to both worlds. David looked at Ethan. Do you understand what they mean? Ethan nodded slowly. Yes. We can't tell everyone everything, but we can share what we learn safely. And maybe it will help humans see that there's more out there than just our city. The creature extended its hand in a gesture of farewell. Go, visitors. Let your world know that curiosity and courage are the greatest gifts of all. David and Ethan stepped back toward the portal. As they passed through, the shimmering light surrounded them, and they found themselves once again in their small apartment. The portal closed softly behind them, leaving only the glowing device on the table. David looked at Ethan, his eyes shining. You did this. All of this. You changed our Christmas and maybe even more. Ethan grinned. I just wanted to share something special with you, Dad. I didn't know it would lead to all of this. David hugged his son tightly. You're amazing, Ethan. This Christmas, it's one I'll never forget. And I think maybe the world will never forget it either. Ethan laughed, his excitement uncontainable. Next time, Dad, we can explore even further. There's so much more to see. David nodded, looking out at the snowy city below. He felt a spark of hope and pride. With Ethan's courage and imagination, the future was bright, full of adventures, discoveries, and possibilities beyond what he had ever imagined. And as they sat together, enjoying a quiet Christmas breakfast, David realized that the true gift of the season wasn't the glowing lights, or the decorations, or even the portal itself. It was the courage, curiosity, and love that had brought him and his son to a world beyond imagination, and a bond that could never be broken. The next morning, David awoke to the soft glow of the portal device. Ethan was already bouncing on the bed, eyes sparkling with excitement. "Dad, we have to go back. I want to see more of the alien world." David stretched and rubbed his eyes, still amazed that yesterday's adventure had been real. "Ethan, we just got back. Are you sure we're ready for more?" Ethan's grin widened. "Of course. We learned so much yesterday, but there's so much more to explore. I want to see the creatures, the landscapes, and maybe even meet others like the one who welcomed us." David nodded slowly. "All right, let's go. But we stay careful this time. We don't know what's out there." Together, they approached the portal device. Ethan entered the same sequence he had discovered yesterday, and the shimmering gateway appeared once more. The soft hum filled the room, making the air feel alive. As they stepped through, David felt the familiar tingling sensation. The snowy alien world greeted them again, its twin suns casting golden light over the glowing landscape. The creatures they had met before watched from a distance, curious but gentle. Ethan ran ahead, eager to explore. "Come on, Dad. Let's follow the path from yesterday. I saw something in the distance that I didn't get a chance to check out." David followed more slowly, taking in the extraordinary scenery. Snow-covered hills sparkled with bioluminescent plants, and streams of glowing water flowed between crystal-like rocks. The air smelled fresh and clean, and he could hear the soft musical calls of the alien creatures echoing across the hills. As they walked, Ethan pointed toward a series of caves carved into the side of a hill. "Look, Dad, those caves. I think there's something inside. Maybe it's another settlement or some kind of library like yesterday's tower." David's curiosity rose, but he also felt caution. "Ethan, remember, we don't know what's inside." "It could be dangerous," Ethan shrugged. "We'll find out. We'll be careful, like explorers." They approached the cave entrance. The walls glowed softly with patterns similar to the ones in the tower, pulsing gently. David felt a thrill of excitement and nervousness. The unknown stretched before them, but he trusted his son's instincts and intelligence. Inside the cave, the temperature was warmer, and the walls shimmered with strange lights. The soft hum of energy filled the space, and David noticed faint markings along the floor and ceiling, like a language written in light. Suddenly, a small, glowing creature appeared in front of them. It was spherical, with tiny wings, and it hovered in the air like a living lantern. It emitted soft musical tones, almost like it was singing. Ethan's eyes lit up. "It's friendly, look at it. It wants us to follow." David nodded. "All right, but stay close. We don't know where it's leading." The glowing creature floated ahead, guiding them deeper into the cave. The passage opened into a vast chamber, larger than anything David had imagined. In the center was a glowing pool of water reflecting light in all directions. Around the pool were more creatures, some floating, some walking gracefully. They moved with intelligence and curiosity, watching the humans without fear. Ethan whispered, "It's like a city, but it's alive. Everything glows and moves." "Look at the pool!" David stepped closer to the water. Its surface shimmered, revealing visions within. He saw alien landscapes, civilizations, and even glimpses of other worlds. The pool seemed to hold knowledge, like the heart of knowledge in the tower. But this was different, more fluid, more connected to life itself. Suddenly, the small glowing creature darted toward a corner of the chamber. A faint sound echoed from there, almost like a warning. David and Ethan turned to see a larger creature approaching. Unlike the gentle beings they had met, this one had sharp edges along its body, and its glowing patterns flickered with intensity. David instinctively stepped in front of Ethan. "Stay back." "Ethan, we don't know what it wants." The creature paused, observing them. Its eyes glowed brighter, and David realized it was not attacking. It was testing them. The room seemed to hum with energy, and David felt a strange pressure in his chest, like the creature was communicating without words. Ethan whispered, "Dad, I think it's trying to see if we're trustworthy. Remember what the other one said? Curiosity and courage. That's the key." David nodded slowly. All right, let's show it we mean no harm. He took a careful step forward and held out his hands in a peaceful gesture. Ethan did the same. The creature tilted its body, circling them, its sharp edges reflecting light. After a tense moment, it stopped and emitted a series of musical tones. The other creatures in the chamber responded, their lights pulsing in rhythm. David realized the creature was accepting them. A wave of relief and excitement washed over him. Ethan, we did it. It trusts us. Ethan grinned, his eyes shining. I knew it. We just had to show we were curious, brave, and respectful. The creature moved closer, guiding them to the edge of the glowing pool. Its light reflected off the water, showing more visions. Different alien worlds, their cultures, and even images of Earth in the distant future. David felt a mixture of awe and responsibility. This knowledge was incredible, but it had to be handled with care. Ethan whispered, Dad, think about it. We can learn so much from this place. Maybe it can help humans and aliens understand each other better. David nodded. Yes, but we have to be careful. Not everyone would use this knowledge wisely. It's a gift, and gifts like this come with responsibility. They spent hours exploring the chamber, learning from the pool and the creatures. David marveled at Ethan's intelligence and courage. His son asked questions, observed patterns, and made connections faster than he could have imagined. As the sun began to set, casting golden and violet light across the chamber, David knew it was time to return. He looked at Ethan and smiled. We have learned so much today, but we need to rest. Tomorrow we can come back and explore more. Ethan nodded reluctantly, but agreed. All right, Dad. But just for a little while. They followed the small glowing creature back to the cave entrance, and the portal appeared waiting for them. As they stepped through, the familiar hum surrounded them, and they found themselves back in their apartment. The device dimmed to a soft glow, resting quietly on the table. David looked at his son. Ethan, you've done something amazing. Not just for us, but for everyone. I'm proud of you, Ethan smiled shyly. Thanks, Dad, but I couldn't have done it without you. You believed in me even when it seemed impossible. David felt a lump in his throat. This Christmas, you've given me more than I could ever ask for. Adventure, knowledge, and hope. All in one gift, Ethan laughed. Next time, Dad, we can go even further. Maybe visit other planets, meet more creatures, and see even more amazing things. David nodded, feeling a surge of excitement. The universe was vast, and with Ethan's courage and curiosity, there was no limit to what they could discover. As they sat down for a quiet Christmas dinner, the portal device hummed softly, a reminder of the world waiting for them just beyond the shimmering gateway. David realized that this was more than a holiday adventure. It was the beginning of something bigger, a journey that could change their lives and maybe even the future of humanity. And in that moment, he knew that the greatest gift of all was not the device, the knowledge, or even the adventure. It was the bond between him and his son, strengthened by courage, curiosity, and the magic of discovery. The following morning, David woke to the soft glow of the portal device. Ethan was already sitting cross-legged on the floor, fiddling with it. Dad, today we can explore even further. I saw a map yesterday in the pool. It shows a bigger area, more creatures, and maybe even a hidden city. David rubbed his eyes, still in awe of everything they had experienced. Ethan, we've learned so much already. Are we ready for more? Ethan's eyes sparkled. We have to. There's so much to see. Come on, Dad, adventure waits. David smiled, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. He trusted his son's curiosity, but also knew that the alien world held mysteries they could not yet imagine. Together they activated the portal. The familiar shimmering gateway appeared, humming softly as the energy field expanded. Stepping through, the snowy alien landscape greeted them once more. The twin suns were higher in the sky, casting golden light across the hills and forests. Ethan ran ahead, pointing toward a distant valley. Look, Dad. The map shows something there. Maybe it's the hidden city. David followed cautiously. The air was crisp and the snow sparkled like crystal under the sun's light. Creatures from previous days watched them curiously, but none approached aggressively. The world seemed alive, pulsing with energy and intelligence. As they approached the valley, they noticed something unusual. Strange formations of ice and crystal jutted from the ground, glowing faintly. David knelt down to examine them. These aren't natural, he said. They look like structures, maybe created by intelligent beings. Ethan's eyes widened. Maybe they're guardians, or a puzzle we need to solve to reach the city. David chuckled. All right, let's treat it like a puzzle. But carefully. They began walking through the valley. The crystalline structures formed a pathway, glowing brighter as they stepped closer. Suddenly, the ground beneath them vibrated lightly. Ethan stopped wide-eyed. Dad, do you feel that? He whispered. David nodded. Yes, it's like the ground is alive, reacting to us. Stay close. As they continued, the crystals pulsed in response to their movements, lighting up the path ahead. David realized the formations were guiding them, an intelligent system that required careful observation and understanding. After a short walk, they reached a wide clearing. In the center stood a massive structure, taller than the tower they had visited before. Its walls shimmered with patterns that moved like liquid, and the air around it vibrated with soft musical tones. Ethan gasped. Dad, this must be the hidden city. Look at it, it's alive. David studied the structure carefully. Yes, but I sense something else. The energy here is stronger. We need to be cautious. As they stepped closer, a barrier of light appeared in front of them. The energy field pulsed rhythmically like a heartbeat. David instinctively held Ethan's hand. We need to understand it. It's not just a wall. It's a test. Ethan studied the glowing patterns. Maybe it's like the creatures yesterday. It wants to see if we're brave and smart enough to enter. David nodded slowly. All right, let's try to approach it carefully. Remember respect and caution first. They moved forward. The light barrier responded, pulsing faster as they got closer. David noticed that certain movements caused the pattern to shift. He realized they needed to step in a specific sequence to match the rhythm of the energy. Ethan's eyes lit up. I think I understand. We move when the lights pulse in the order they glow. Come on, Dad. David followed his son's lead. Together they stepped in rhythm with the glowing crystals, moving carefully across the barrier. Each correct step made the lights pulse more brightly, and the barrier's energy grew softer. After a tense few minutes, they reached the other side. The barrier vanished completely, revealing the entrance to the city. David exhaled, impressed. Ethan, you did it. We passed the test. Inside, the city was breathtaking. Buildings made of glowing crystal rose from the snow, their walls alive with moving patterns. Creatures of all shapes and sizes moved gracefully between the structures, some observing the humans curiously. The air was filled with soft music, as if the city itself were singing. Ethan ran ahead, exploring with wonder. Dad, look at this. They live here like one big family. Everything is connected. David followed, taking in the sights. He noticed that the creatures communicated using light patterns and music. The city seemed to be alive, not just with energy, but with intelligence. As they moved deeper, they encountered another large creature. Unlike the gentle beings from before, this one had a more commanding presence. Its glowing patterns shifted rapidly, and it emitted deep, resonant tones. David stepped forward. We come in peace. We wish to learn and understand. The creature paused, observing them. Then slowly it extended a limb toward the glowing pool at the city center. Images appeared within the water, alien landscapes, civilizations, and even glimpses of Earth. David realized this city was a hub of knowledge, connecting multiple worlds through information and energy. Ethan whispered, Dad, this is amazing. We can learn so much here, maybe even help humans understand aliens better. David nodded. Yes, but we must be careful. This knowledge is powerful. It can help, but it can also be dangerous if misused. The large creature emitted a series of tones which the other creatures repeated in harmony. David felt a wave of understanding wash over him. They were offering guidance but also testing their intentions. The city wanted to see if humans could respect knowledge and use it wisely. Ethan smiled. We're ready, Dad. We'll learn and be careful, promise. David returned the smile. I promise, Ethan. Let's explore, but remember respect and caution first. They spent hours in the city, learning about the creatures, their technology, and the way their world functioned. David was amazed by the intelligence and cooperation he observed. Ethan asked questions, experimented carefully, and made connections faster than David could have imagined. As the twin suns began to set, casting golden and violet light across the city, David realized how much they had grown in understanding. The adventure was not just about exploration, it was about trust, respect, and courage. Ethan looked up at the glowing towers. Dad, this Christmas has been the best ever. Not because of gifts, but because we're seeing a whole new world. David nodded, feeling a surge of pride. Yes, Ethan, and this is just the beginning. There's so much more to learn and discover, and together we can do amazing things. They made their way back to the portal, the creatures watching silently but kindly. As they stepped through, the soft hum surrounded them once more, and they found themselves back in their apartment. The portal dimmed, resting quietly on the table. David looked at his son. Ethan, you've done something extraordinary, not just for us, but for the future. This knowledge, this adventure, it can change how humans see the universe. Ethan grinned. I just wanted to share it with you, Dad. I didn't know it would lead to all this. David hugged him tightly. This Christmas, you've given me more than I could have imagined. Adventure, knowledge, and hope. All in one gift, Ethan laughed. Next time, Dad, we can go even further. Maybe visit more worlds, meet new creatures, and see things we can't even imagine yet. David nodded, feeling excitement and wonder. The universe was vast, and with Ethan's curiosity and courage, there was no limit to what they could explore. As they sat down for a quiet Christmas dinner, the portal device hummed softly, a reminder of the worlds waiting for them. David realized that the greatest gift of all wasn't the portal, the knowledge, or the adventure. It was the bond between him and his son, strengthened by courage, curiosity, and discovery. And as the city outside twinkled with lights, David knew this Christmas would never be forgotten. It was more than a holiday. It was the beginning of a journey that could change everything. The next morning, David and Ethan woke to a quiet apartment. The portal device glowed softly on the table, as if inviting them for one final adventure. Ethan's eyes sparkled with excitement. Dad, today, we go to the heart of the alien world. The map shows a place even the creatures themselves call special. David nodded slowly, feeling both excitement and a hint of nervousness. All right, Ethan, but remember, this could be more dangerous than before. We need to be careful and stick together. Ethan grinned. I know, Dad, we'll be careful. But we can do it. They activated the device and the familiar shimmering portal appeared. As they stepped through, the alien world welcomed them with its crisp air, glowing snow, and twinkling creatures. The twin suns shone brightly, and the creatures they had met before observed them curiously. Ethan ran ahead, pointing toward a distant mountain that glowed with soft light. Look, Dad! That's where the heart of the world is. The creatures said it's the most important place here. David followed, his boots crunching in the glowing snow. All right, Ethan. Let's go slow and observe everything. As they approached the mountain, the terrain changed. Jagged crystals emerged from the ground, glowing with energy. Strange, ethereal winds carried musical tones that seemed to speak directly to their minds. David felt a thrill of awe, but also a cautionary sense of the unknown. Suddenly, a large creature blocked their path. It was taller and more imposing than any they had seen before, with glowing patterns that flickered like lightning. David instinctively stepped in front of Ethan. The creature emitted deep, resonant tones. David focused, recalling what they had learned in the city. We come in peace. We mean no harm. We are here to learn and understand. The creature paused, then tilted its body. Light patterns from its skin shifted, almost like a nod. Slowly, it moved aside, allowing them to continue. Ethan whispered, Dad, it's testing us again. We need to show respect and courage, David nodded. All right, let's move carefully. They climbed the mountain path, following the glowing markers. Each step made the crystals along the path pulse, as if acknowledging their presence. David felt the energy growing stronger, like the mountain itself was alive. At the peak, they found a massive chamber carved into the crystal mountain. In the center floated a colossal orb, radiating soft golden light. The air vibrated with energy, and David felt it in his chest, a strange warmth that made him feel connected to the world around him. Ethan's eyes widened. Dad, this is it. The heart of the world. David stepped closer, marveling at the orb. Visions appeared within its golden glow, alien cities, creatures, distant planets, and even images of Earth, shimmering like a jewel in space. He realized this place held knowledge and wisdom beyond imagination. Suddenly, the orb pulsed more intensely. The creatures that had accompanied them emitted musical tones, creating a symphony of light and sound. David felt the energy pulling at him, not in a harmful way, but as if urging him to understand something important. Ethan whispered, Dad, it wants us to see something, maybe the greatest lesson of all. David nodded, focusing on the visions. He saw how the alien world had survived for centuries, through cooperation, respect, and understanding of the energy that connected all life. He saw how humans and aliens could coexist if they shared knowledge and curiosity instead of fear. A glowing pattern formed in the air before them, like a message made of light. David understood it instinctively. Curiosity, courage, and respect create bridges between worlds. Ethan gasped. "Dad, that's what all this has been about." The creatures were teaching us, testing us, and showing us that humans can do the same. David smiled. "Yes, Ethan, this isn't just about adventure. It's about understanding, learning, and sharing that knowledge wisely." The orb pulsed one last time, sending a wave of golden light across the chamber. David and Ethan felt a sense of clarity and peace. They realized that their journey had a purpose far beyond their expectations. It wasn't just Christmas fun, it was a lesson for humanity. Suddenly, a vision appeared of Earth, showing humans and aliens working together, sharing technology and ideas, and learning from one another. David felt hope rising in his chest. If humanity could embrace curiosity and respect, the future could be brighter than they had ever imagined. Ethan looked up at his father. "Dad, do you see it? We can make a difference. We can help humans and aliens understand each other." David nodded. "Yes, Ethan, and it starts with us. We've seen the importance of courage and respect. We've learned that curiosity can change everything." The creatures around them emitted a soft, harmonious sound. It was a farewell, but also a blessing. The energy of the orb calmed, and the chamber seemed to breathe with life one last time. David realized it was time to return home. Hand in hand, David and Ethan stepped back through the portal. The familiar hum surrounded them, and they found themselves in their apartment once again. The device dimmed to a soft glow, resting quietly on the table. David looked at Ethan, pride and love shining in his eyes.
"Ethan, you've done something incredible."
"This Christmas, you didn't just give me adventure, you gave me hope, wisdom, and a vision for the future." Ethan smiled shyly. "I just wanted to share it with you, Dad. I didn't know it would be so amazing." David laughed softly. "It was more than amazing. It was life-changing, and it's all because of your curiosity and courage." They spent the rest of the day reflecting on their journey. David realized that the greatest gift of all wasn't the portal, the knowledge, or even the alien creatures. It was the bond he shared with his son, strengthened by discovery, trust, and adventure. As night fell, the city outside twinkled with holiday lights. David and Ethan sat together, enjoying a quiet Christmas dinner. The portal device hummed softly, a reminder of the worlds waiting beyond the gateway. Ethan leaned against his father and whispered, "Dad, next Christmas maybe we can go even further, explore new worlds, meet more creatures, and learn even more." David smiled, feeling warmth and excitement. "Yes, Ethan, but remember, the greatest adventure is what we do with what we learn. Curiosity, courage, and respect, that's what will guide us." And in that moment, David understood the true meaning of Christmas. It wasn't the lights, the gifts, or the snow. It was the courage to explore, the curiosity to learn, and the love between a father and his son that could change everything. That night, as snow fell gently outside, David and Ethan gazed at the device, knowing that their adventure was only the beginning. The universe was vast, full of wonders and mysteries waiting to be discovered, and with their bond, courage, and curiosity, they were ready to face it together. Christmas had given them more than joy, it had given them purpose, knowledge, and a promise that humanity's place in the universe could be brighter than ever before. And as they drifted off to sleep, the soft hum of the portal device filled the room, like a lullaby for a world of infinite possibility.